Today's video is not gonna be like my normal videos, and it's basically me just talking to the camera and just telling you a little bit about depression and anxiety and how I've dealt with it and stuff like that, and kind of on the topic of that, speaking out about mental health and depression and stuff. It's kind of very hard for me to talk about it, and yeah, I feel sometimes that if I do talk about it, people won't really listen, and they kind of will just class me as like a liar or something, and basically that's the anxiety kicking in. Depression is a mental health disorder which is like heightened feeling of sadness. So if, say, someone without depression was feeling sad, they would feel upset, they would probably try and cheer themselves up. But a person with depression, when they feel sad, it's quite heightened and they don't feel motivated, and they go into phases of depression, and it plays on the brain. For me, when those depression phases happen, I tend to shut down, I tend to don't talk to anyone, I tend to just keep myself enclosed in a small space because I don't want to be bothered. But it's also quite hard for me to get motivation to do things like homework or schoolwork or even edit sometimes, because I just can't emotionally and physically bring myself to do something because of whatever's happened. For me, I take things heart to heart sometimes really seriously when they're meant as a joke. And when they're not meant as a joke and stuff happens, then it really plays on my mind. Back in 2013, my mum was diagnosed with lung cancer, and in between that and the time she died, which was about 9 months, I went to CAMHS, and they kind of did an assessment to see if I was depressed and stuff like that, and I came out as mildly depressed, and to me that didn't seem a lot. But after that, when my mum died, I was doing my GCSEs, and the same day that my mum died, I went back to school, and I tried to put it out of my mind and kind of just try and focus on my GCSEs and getting my mocks done at the time. And I didn't really grieve that properly. I did grieve, of course I did grieve, but I don't think I grieved as normal people would. I kind of shut off from it. I didn't want to know about it, I just wanted to get on with my life, and yeah, I didn't really think about it that much. In September 2015, I started to feel really low. I don't know why. I struggled that year. I got my GCSEs. By then. By September 2015, I got my GCSEs, I got my AS levels, and I was pretty happy with them. I wish I had done better, and I wish I had concentrated more, but I think that because I didn't concentrate as much as I could have and didn't revise as much as I could have because I was not motivated to, I think that underneath that I had, my depression was getting worse at that point, but I didn't realise it. So in 2015, when I started school again in years 13, I felt really low, and it was one of the most horrible times of my life. I lost friends, I got into arguments because of stupid things. I tried to help, but it backlashed on me. And in October 2015 that was the first time I thought about killing myself. I never thought of it before, I didn't want to, and one day I felt so ignored by people. Everyone was ganging up on me. I have internet friends, and I felt they were going against me, and everyone started to argue with me and call me names and really be mean to me and bully me, and I just couldn't take it. And I remember, if anyone's read my blog, I remember sitting on my laptop one Friday afternoon before the end of the day, and I felt so horrible. I felt no motivation to do anything. I didn't want to do anything. And I just tried to solve these problems that were happening, and every time I tried to solve one, it would get worse and another one would occur, and it just didn't work out. And I felt so depressed. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be anywhere. I just didn't want to be alive. I didn't want the problems. I didn't want the pain. And that month I met one of my ex-boyfriends. We both had depressive moments. And after 2 weeks of dating and going out, he dumped me and I fell back into my depression. And I didn't think I would be happy for a long time, but I met now my ex-boyfriend, and we stayed together for over 5 months, and I wasn't depressed. He made me happy, and I didn't want to be depressed anymore. And when all the problems started to happen, when we were going through a rough patch in our relationship, it really tore me apart, and I got back into that depressive phase. And my anxiety was high and I couldn't do anything about it. And all these things added up, and I couldn't deal with it, and after 5 months of not self-harming, I self-harmed. I never really tell anyone this stuff because it's really not something that I feel people want to hear from me. I'm not everyone's favourite person, and I know that not everyone will like me, but for someone who's 18 now and like this, I don't really want this. And I do have friends and I do have people I can confide in, but there's just some people that just want to make my life worse. So after we broke up, I fell back into that depressive phase again. And I continued to hurt myself, and physically and emotionally, and I haven't felt the best, and I haven't really been trying to kind of get back to that happy place. I know people don't really see me as the most happiest person all the time, but it's not because I don't want to be happy, it's because I just can't be. When things go wrong for me, I really suffer. I don't really know what to do, and when things get really bad, I just snap at myself, and I'm not fair to myself, and I'm not nice to myself, and depression is a really, really bad mental disorder. I hate it. I really do. I really do. I wish I didn't have it. I wish I didn't have the low moments, and I wish I was better and happier and stuff, but for me that's not gonna happen for a very long time. I know that I've got people there for me, and I know that I will have support for the rest of my life, but when you feel depressed, you don't want to talk to them. I don't. I tend to not message them because I feel I'm a burden on everyone's life, and I don't want to take them out of their routine or their day to just say, look, I'm depressed, I don't know what to do, can you help, or can you talk to me, or can you call me? Because when I feel like I do, I don't really want to hurt them. I don't want them to know, because if they know, then they'll feel sympathy, and I don't want sympathy. I really don't. I don't want someone to go, oh, I'm so sorry that you've got a mental disorder that you can't control, really. I don't want that. I just want people to say, well, I understand, but there's the fear and the anxiety that people are always going to go, oh, I'm so sorry, and well, have you tried this? And to be honest, I've tried therapy and counsellors and they've not worked, and I'm yet to try medication, but I'm also scared to try medication. If you ever become depressed or are depressed, you will get out of it. I know that. It may take me a couple of months or a couple of years to get out of my depressive state, but in the end it's worth it. In the end it's worth getting the help, because if you're happier and you don't feel as depressed, then you're gonna have a better life. And yeah.